Don't throw away the watermelon rind. Watermelon is a favorite fruit for many, but sadly, the rind often ends up in the trash. Such a shame, because it's full of hidden value. In the previous video, I shared that the white part of watermelon rind is not only edible, but also very good for your health. But how can you keep it edible for 2 whole years and still have it taste good and be safe? That's something I've never shared before. And today, I'm going to reveal to you an extremely simple recipe to turn watermelon rind into a sweet, crunchy candied treat. No preservatives needed. And it can last up to 2 years if stored properly. You'll be surprised to see that the part of the watermelon you usually throw away can become such a delightful little gift. Let's get into the kitchen with me. Nothing beats enjoying fresh, sweet watermelon slices on hot summer days. But did you know that the rind is just as delicious as the red flesh? Many people still have the habit of tossing the watermelon rind after eating, but don't throw it away just yet. A little clever touch can turn it into a wonderful treat. First, when slicing the watermelon, try to keep a bit of the red part near the rind. This will give a naturally sweet flavor to the candied treat. Then gently peel off the dark green outer skin, keeping only the white rind. This is the main character that brings the crunch and light sweetness to the candied watermelon rind. Next, cut the rind into little square pieces, neat and bite-sized. Not too thick, so it can soak in the flavors easily, and not too thin, so it keeps its crunch. The white rind of watermelon contains a lot of citrulline, an amino acid that helps improve blood circulation and supports heart health. It also has vitamin B6 and C, as well as fiber, all of which are great for digestion and immunity, so don't make the mistake of throwing it away. Looking at those watermelon rind pieces after being neatly trimmed and cleaned, who would think they were once considered waste, right? After you finish preparing the white rind, the next step is very important: soaking it in baking soda. Prepare a clean basin, add about 30 grams of baking soda, equivalent to 2 tablespoons, and dissolve it in cold water. Then, gently place the chopped watermelon rind pieces into the solution to soak. Make sure the rind is completely submerged in the water. If needed, you can place a small plate on top to keep it from floating to the surface. Baking soda has a function that helps expand the cellulose structure in the rind. Thanks to that, the rind absorbs flavors more easily during the soaking process. This is exactly the secret that many experienced candied fruit makers rely on to make their preserves tastier, crunchier, and able to last longer. Next, rinse it thoroughly several times under running water to completely remove any remaining baking soda. Then set it aside to let the excess water drain off. When the watermelon rind has drained a bit, we need to do one more step: blanching it. This is a very important step to help the rind soften evenly, become clearer, and absorb flavor better when making the candied version. Boil 2 liters of water in a clean pot. Once the water reaches a rolling boil, gently drop each piece of rind in and reduce the heat to low. Let it simmer gently for about 10 minutes. Note, do not boil for too long to avoid making the rind mushy and losing its natural crunch. After 10 minutes, take the watermelon rind out and let it drain. You can lay it out on a clean towel or a mesh strainer to help the water drain off more easily. At this point, the pieces of rind look beautifully clear and plump, like little jelly cubes waiting to be sweetened. Once the rind is drained, we move on to the most important step. Prepare a deep pot, add 1 liter of water, 800 grams of white granulated sugar, and 5 cloves. Cloves not only give the candied rind a gentle, pleasant aroma, but also help preserve it longer thanks to their natural antibacterial properties. Turn on the heat and cook this mixture until the sugar is completely dissolved and the water starts to boil. At this point, the gentle fragrance of cloves will spread throughout the kitchen, a nostalgic scent that feels both cozy and comforting. When the syrup comes to a boil, gently add the watermelon rind pieces into the pot. Stir gently so the rind is evenly coated with the syrup. Then reduce the heat to medium and cook for the first 30 minutes. You don't need to stir constantly. Just gently turn the rind pieces from time to time to prevent them from sticking to the bottom of the pot. After 30 minutes, lower the heat to the lowest simmer and continue simmering the candied rind for about another 1.5 hours. During this time, the syrup will gradually thicken, and the watermelon rind pieces will slowly turn translucent, glowing with a light amber hue, very eye-catching. Every time you look into the pot as the syrup thickens, you can feel the care, patience, and even a bit of love that you've poured into each little piece of candied rind. Not overly sweet, with no need for artificial coloring or preservatives, just from simple, natural ingredients, we've created a sweet gift for ourselves and our family. The result after more than 2 hours of patience, when the syrup has reduced and the sugar water has thickened like honey, with the watermelon rind pieces now crystal clear and glistening like golden honey, that's the moment to add one small but very important ingredient to complete the flavor: freshly squeezed lemon juice. Squeeze the juice from half a lemon, making sure to remove the seeds to avoid any bitterness, then drizzle it evenly over the jam as it gently simmers. Stir gently one more time to let the lemon juice absorb evenly. Many people who make jam often experience sugar recrystallizing after a few days. That's because they don't realize that lemon contains citric acid, which not only helps balance the sweetness and adds a refreshing note to the jam, but also helps preserve it longer and prevents the sugar from crystallizing once it cools. After stirring well, turn off the heat immediately and let the pot of jam cool completely at room temperature. Don't rush to put it into jars while still hot, because the steam will condense inside the jars, making the jam spoil more easily. Once the jam has completely cooled, place it into a clean, dry glass jar and seal it tightly. If stored in the refrigerator, the jam can be enjoyed gradually over 1 to 2 years, while still retaining its delicious flavor, chewy crisp texture, and signature fragrance. Whenever you're in the mood for something sweet, all you have to do is open the jar, and you'll have a fragrant, flavorful preserve that's completely safe for your health. Who would have thought that watermelon rind, something most people throw away, could be turned into a sweet, crystal-clear preserve that lasts up to 2 whole years? You can even make a few jars of this jam as a unique and healthful gift for family during the New Year holidays. No one would ever guess it's made from watermelon rind. Maybe, somewhere in this life, we're just like those pieces of watermelon rind. Simple, quiet, but if treated with care and appreciation, we too can share a bit of sweetness with others. I hope this humble little jam brings a touch of joy and sweetness into your kitchen. If you find this recipe interesting, please hit like to give me more motivation, and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss gentle, budget-friendly, and inspiring kitchen tips like this. Thank you for staying until the very end. Wishing you joy in every meal and warmth in every moment of life.